Well, now you people, I can now comfortably confirm that you are investing because the kind of questions that you're asking me, wow, I love them. Hey, Joseph, what are the best MMFs? What are the best shares to buy? What are the best, or how can I invest on rates? And you know what? Those kind of questions actually tells me that indeed you're watching my videos, and on top of that, you're actually taking actions to make sure that you invest. And thank you very much for those who call me, privately to get private coaching and private sessions. If you'd like to get any of the sort, my number is always on the description of this specific video. I always leave that number there in case you need any business, a business with me. Now, the point is, on this video, I'm gonna share with you, what are the best shares to buy before 2025, and why am I even saying 2025? What's the big deal about 2025? By the way, making this video on the 7th of November 2024, it's literally a day after the US presidential elections have just closed. We already know who is the winner. And of course, the market has reacted. And I'm this kind of a guy. Yes, as much as I'm looking who is winning, I do look at the market. Let me tell you one thing. Market reacted immediately. Markets do react immediately. And of course, there are some of the good things that will come and others, some bad things and what have you. So I find it worth to just come here on this particular session, as always, with my board and pen, make a video and share with you what are the best shares to actually buy. I may not tell you exact and like buy this, buy the other, but I'm give you a very nice trick that you can use to make a decision on what shares to buy. Anyway, enough with all the introduction. Make sure that you like the video, make sure that you leave a comment, and make sure that you subscribe if you have not subscribed. Now, well, the first shares I would highly recommend you buy, especially if you come from Kenya, buy bank-based shares. Bank-based shares. In Kenya, we have a variety of banks. I think we have, I don't know whether it's 30 banks or 25 banks or whatever. We have a lot of banks in Kenya. And banks in Kenya are making huge chunk of profits. That's for sure. Go check out the banks that are listed. We have the companies that are called PLC and non-PLC banks, or the listed PLC. All the PLCs, PLC means public listed companies, means all the companies that you can be able to buy shares. If you go to Kenya, check about the likes of the KCB Bank, like about the Equity, check about the shares like the KNCBA, like something like likes of the ABSA, cooperative, cooperative bank. I mean, all this, but Stanbic Bank. Check about all the, and I want you to go do your own research and find out how are these banks performing. Yes, I understand right now as you speak, we have a lot of NPLs, yeah, that is non-performing loans, and some of the banks are at risk, especially the banks that offer these NPLs in an unsecured way. Those ones that have a little bit of a cash crunch or a problem. But generally, these banks, for example, I was reading an article whereby they were saying only 9 banks in Kenya, not really 9 banks per se, but 9 banks, they actually meted a couple of billions of shillings in terms of the profits. That's like tens of $1 million in terms of the profit from the investing in the bills and the bonds of the government securities. So the point is, banks in Kenya are doing good. They're actually registering huge profit. And of course, if the bank is registering a good profit, it means that being part of that particular bank as a shareholder is an amazing thing that you can be able to get yourself into. So especially the Tier 1 bank, you usually have the difference. By the way, I don't know whether you know this. Banks are usually classified in terms of the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 or something of sort. Especially the Tier 1 banks, you can actually be able to buy some shares there. And of course, the point is good to, for example, I personally have bought shares in some of these banks that I've already listed here. That's for sure, I cannot lie. It's only that I can't tell you this or that. You can just imagine the kind of an effect that can have. But of course, I've bought shares in some of these banks, and not one, but how many? Two of them. I've already bought shares to some of the 2 banks in that particular session. Okay, so I would say bank-based shares are quite good, and they are doing amazing based on what is happening in terms of the profits and what. Because obviously, you would love to, go ahead and invest in some. You would love to go and invest in a company that is actually making profit. You don't want to give money to a company that is actually, barely surviving, cash crunch, problems, insolvency, or those kind of things. So that is exactly what I will let you know. And if maybe perhaps you don't know how to buy shares, still watching my videos, and I still say, hey, if you would like to get my services, always grab that number of mine. Go get that number of mine there from the description of this specific video. Give me a call, and then I'll be able to guide you through step by step on how to buy shares in Kenya. What are the rightful procedures to buy shares in Kenya? And you can actually become a shareholder. And I told you guys, especially if you're a young individual, learn to buy this share. Okay, probably the banks one may not. I think the cheapest, though, the least bank in Kenya we have that you can buy shares, I think it's around 30 shillings or something or so. So this one, if you multiply by 100, you need, and add some a little bit there, you need like 3,000, you need like 3,000, say 700 for you to buy like the shares of the banks. They're around this particular amount of money. Maybe if this one is a bit expensive, if you're a young individual, you're barely working, you're just getting some few coins here and there, maybe you're in university, you're trying to scale down that what you have, budgeting properly, you may not get this amount of money. There are always other shares that you can be able to buy and can actually help you in terms of the growth. All right, now the other side types of the shares that you can actually buy apart from the bank-based shares, you can also buy what we call the production or the manufacturing companies, manufacturing or production, depends on how you call them. You can actually buy shares from those companies. And this one, in this category, there are a variety of them. We do have companies like BAT, if you have the capacity, and if your values allows you, this is the British American Tobacco, they are the one that manufactures cigarettes. If your values allows you to buy shares for this company, you know, be able to make some cash out of it, it's okay, you can go ahead and be able to do that. We also have a company like EABL, that is East African Breweries. This is the biggest East African company that manufactures alcohol. Again, if your values, if your religion beliefs allows you to buy shares for these companies, you can. The reason why I'm saying that, I do have a lot of clients who are Muslim. They call me, obviously, you know, sometimes Christians, they are funny, you know, because let me not get there. So Muslim, they cannot buy this, okay? They cannot buy anything talks with tobacco. It's haram. So that's why I'm insisting. If your values allows you, some Christians are funny. Let me clarify that. I am a Christian. Christ is my Lord and Savior, and I'm saved. I'm not talking about all the Christians. Some Christians are funny. Let me just use that term. Now, the point is, these ones you can actually be other companies that are manufacturing, you can also get in companies like Unga. But Unga, this one is a little bit like a penny stock. It's not even like it's a penny stock. Doesn't have like a, you know, doesn't require like a huge chunk of cash for you to buy those shares. Why Unga? Unga is quite of a thing in Kenya. For those who don't know, what is unga? Unga simply means flour. Flour is what we use to prepare. We can prepare some things, either chapatis, mandazis, or ugali, or whatever. Ugali is like equivalence of fufu or something of sort. So it can be a wheat flour, it can be a maize flour, it can be whatever it is. Yeah, you can also be able to go there. And of course, there are some other companies like the one that manufactures. Are they processing? I think they are more of processing companies. They are productions. Likes of for example, in Kenya, we do have companies that deal with teas and whatever, like the Kapchorwa tea and what have you. Those the Limuru tea and, you know, there are a variety of Sasini. You can actually go ahead and Kakuzi. Those are more of production companies and what have you. You can get a combination of like, say, 2 or 3 if you have the capacity or the production. And then you can go to the service industry. Service industry, there you'll get variety of them. You can get yourself, Safaricom is here. Safaricom is the biggest company in Kenya, as far as, actually is the biggest listed company, the Nairobi Securities Exchange. I think it has a crossover over 1 trillion Kenyan shilling. 1 trillion is equivalent to like, I think that's equivalent to like $10 billion. Damn, that's quite a huge chunk of cash. Anyway, it's that one company there. It's like, okay, if you're in Uganda, it's like your MTN. If you're from Tanzania, it's like your Vodafone. If you are from wherever you are, now you get what I'm talking about when I say Safaricom, all right? See, you can be able to buy shares from those companies that are in their service industry. Even banks are service industry anyway. You can be able to get something about that and be earning something here and there. And of course, by the way, I usually tell people, if you want to buy shares, don't really think hard. Of course, I'm not saying that you should not do your research. Of course, do your research, but make sure that at least you see, by the way, one thing I came to realize in life is that making money, you don't need to be the brightest kid in town, okay? And I'm not saying you need to be dumb. No, please don't misquote me. Sometimes when you overanalyze some things, you'll never get the answer. But when you just let things flow the way they are, you can actually get something. When people are buying shares, they tend to overthink. Oh, which one should I buy? What should I do? No. You don't do that. Just ask yourself as a human being, when you wake up in that country that you live, ask yourself, what do I do? What do I consume? where do I go, how do I go about it. And of course, when you do that, then you can also imagine what I do. Is this what most of the people do out there? Yes, it is what most of the people do out there. And then that can tell you what they consume a lot. For example, it's probably almost everyone when they wake up, they actually consume cereals, they consume breakfast and whatever. You can invest in those companies that are manufacturing that. You can invest in that company that is actually offering that service. You know, you do make calls like every time. You have to send money, you have to receive money, you have to send messages, you have to buy internet. And of course, it's not only you who is doing that. Almost everyone is doing that. Then buy a company that offer that service. For example, I tell people, don't overthink. Capture that what is out there, and you find that most of the people are doing it. And then once you incorporate that in your buying of shares, of course, you can be able to do something. And of course, I always tell people, whenever you're buying shares, of course, make sure that you do your research and make sure you have a division of how you're buying shares. There are some shares that are quite expensive, others have moderate in terms of the values, and others we call them what we call penny stocks and what have you. So you can actually have a combination of those variety of things here and there, and you can be able to do something at the end of the day. So anyway, buying of shares is quite interesting. It's amazing. I highly advocate you do for that thing. And of course, if you're an individual, go ahead and do that thing, because that is what can actually, you can take your time and accumulate those number of shares, and at long run you can be able to be earning something called dividends. Of course, I know I have not given you like buy that. See, for example, if I tell you buy KCB shares, buy this, buy that, that might be the best for now, but how about tomorrow? There are people who ask me, what are the best shares to buy? Personally, I'm not really a stockbroker. Stockbrokers by law, they are the ones who are supposed, or who guide you or tell you these are the shares to buy, these are the shares not to buy, and what have you. So for me, I'm here to tell you how to buy, not what to buy. Differentiate those two things, okay? But anyway, it does not mean that I do not know what to buy. I do know what to buy anyway, because I've been doing research and what have you. And I've told you guys, make sure that if it's possible for you, again, you can be able to purchase international stocks, especially bearing in mind that the presidency in the US has been settled. Then you can take advantage of that and be able to earn something, be able to invest and differentiate. You may not have the money or the entire cash to buy like a whole stock of, say, NASDAQ or S&P 500, but you can buy fractional shares. There's something called fractional shares. Fractional shares means that if you do not have, let's say, $100 to buy, say, this particular share, maybe you can buy a fraction of it at this amount of money, and you can be able to invest. Again, if you're interested on investing in the international stocks, that number of mine is always there. I'm going to be able to take you through step by step what you require, how much you need, and how to go about it, and what have you, all the terms, what are the forms do you need to fill in, what are they, and all those kind of things. You can always give me a call, then we can have a discussion. But let's do something, God willing, next year 2025. So how about we invest on something exclusively and earn something and be able to grow ourselves? Yes, that is it. So for now, guys, it's a goodbye, and see you in the next one. But don't forget, hit that like button, make sure that you follow me for more, make sure that you leave me a comment on the comment section, and see you in the next one.